The bass died mid-drop. 1,000 people went silent, and she kissed the most dangerous man in Milan. Chiara's hands moved across the DJ console like she was conducting an orchestra. The bass was so thick you could feel it in your teeth. The inferno was packed. Bodies pressed together, lost in the music, the strobe lights turning everything into fragments of motion and color. She was wearing a backless silk dress that clung to her ribs. The fabric hid the faint yellowing bruises Nero had given her before she escaped his estate 6 hours ago. Her parting gift, he'd called it. A reminder of what happened when she tried to leave. But she'd left anyway. Climbed out a second-story window while he was meeting with his father. Took nothing but her headphones and the USB drive hidden in her bra, the one with all the evidence. She'd come straight here, to the only place in Milan where the music was louder than her fear. The crowd was dancing. She was controlling their heartbeat. But her own heart was racing because she'd just seen them. Nero and 4 of his men, walking through the VIP entrance like they owned the place. Welcome to Honeybee Mafia Tales, where secrets, lies, and forbidden love collide. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love seeing my global family grow. Now let's get back to the DJ's booth. Nero wasn't running. He was walking slow, wearing that sickening smirk she'd grown to hate. He was carrying a pair of handcuffs like they were a toy, like this was a game. He knew she was trapped. The club had one way in and one way out. Chiara's eyes darted across the room, looking for an exit that didn't exist, looking for help that wouldn't come, looking for him. In the most shadow-drenched booth in the club sat Bastian Salvatore, 40 years old, sharp-jawed, eyes like frozen smoke. He was the Capo di Tutti Capi, the man Nero's father bowed to. He was the only person in the room who wasn't dancing, just sitting there with a tumbler of whiskey, watching the crowd like he was studying prey. Nero reached the edge of the DJ booth. He didn't say a word, just leaned over the console and slowly reached for the master volume fader. He was going to shut her down, in front of 1,000 people, humiliate her before he dragged her back to the estate, back to the wedding in 48 hours. Chiara's heart slammed against her ribs. She had 3 seconds to make a choice. Run and die, or gamble with the king. Just as Nero's fingers touched the fader, Chiara didn't flinch, didn't scream. She reached under the desk and slammed the master breaker. The music died. Mid-drop, the massive subwoofers emit a single, violent thud of silence. The lights cut to black. For 3 seconds, the club was a tomb. In those 3 seconds, Chiara didn't run for the back door. She vaulted over the front of the DJ booth, a 4-foot drop, and disappeared into the dark. The emergency amber lights flickered on. Nero spun around, reaching for the spot where Chiara had been standing. She was gone. He looked toward the exit. She wasn't there. Then the entire club went silent for a different reason. Chiara was straddling Bastian Salvatore's lap in the high-walled VIP booth. Her headphones still hung around her neck. Her hands were buried in his expensive silk tie, and she was crushing her lips to his in a kiss so desperate it looked like a collision. Bastian didn't push her off, didn't draw his gun. His large, scarred hand slowly settled on the small of her back, pulling her flush against his chest. He could feel her trembling, but her eyes were a wildfire. Chiara pulled back just an inch. Her lips were wet, ghosting over his. She whispered loud enough for Nero to hear. Nero says I'm his property, but I just committed an act of public treason against the boss of the commission. By the laws of the old world, Bastian, you have to execute me yourself, or you have to take me into custody for the insult. She leaned in, her breath hot against his ear. Take me into custody, Bastian, because I have the offshore keys Nero's been using to steal from you. If you let him take me, he kills the witness. If you take me, you get your 10 million back, and I get to live. Bastian's eyes didn't leave Nero. His hand tightened on Chiara's waist. Custody it is, he said quietly. Nero's face went white. His fists clenched. His men reached for their guns, but froze. You don't draw on the capo. Not in his club. Not in public. She's mine, Capo. She's confused. She doesn't know what she's saying. Nero's voice shook with rage. Bastian's voice was calm. Deadly calm. She kissed me in front of 1,000 witnesses, Nero. In my club. That makes her my problem now. She's a liar. Then prove it. Bastian's voice dropped to a whisper that somehow cut through the entire room. Show me the Cayman account she's talking about. The one under Luca's name. Nero's face drained of color. Luca was Bastian's younger brother. Died in an ambush 2 years ago. Using his name was sacrilege. I don't know what... You used my dead brother's name to hide your theft. You think I wouldn't notice? You think I wouldn't care? Bastian shifted Chiara slightly on his lap. A possessive, deliberate movement. She stays with me. You go back to your father's house and tell him his son is a thief and a coward. If you want her back, bring me proof she's lying. You have 48 hours. He leaned forward, voice cold as frost. And Nero, if you ever step a foot in my club again without an invitation, I'll assume you're here to confess. And I don't take confessions lightly. Nero opened his mouth, closed it, turned, left. His men followed. The crowd erupted in confused murmurs. The music started again, a slow, heavy beat. Bastian looked down at Chiara, still trembling on his lap. You just painted a target on both our backs, Piccola. This better be worth it. Chiara's voice was breathless but defiant. $10 million and my freedom, Bastian. You tell me what's worth more. Bastian's mouth twitched. Not quite a smile. Not quite a threat. We'll see. He stood, Chiara still in his arms. The crowd parted. He carried her toward the back exit. Chiara sat on the edge of a black leather couch that probably cost more than her entire DJ setup, holding a glass of water she hadn't touched. Her hands were still shaking. The city glittered below through floor-to-ceiling windows. Milan spread out like broken glass. Inside, everything was marble and leather, and bottles of alcohol that probably cost more than cars. Bastian stood at the window with his back to her, still wearing his white shirt from the club, and unbuttoned at the collar now. A shoulder holster rested against his ribs, the Beretta visible every time he shifted. The silence pressed on her chest like a weight. You have 10 seconds to convince me you're not wasting my time. His voice was calm, too calm. He didn't turn around. Chiara set down the water. Her voice came out steadier than she expected. Nero's been skimming from the Commission's Eastern Territory shipments for 8 months. Guns, pills, cash. He's been funneling it into a Cayman account under your brother's name. Luca Salvatore. He thought you'd never check a dead man's ledger. Bastian's shoulders tensed. Still didn't turn. He stole $10,300,000. I know because I saw the transfer logs. He kept them in a safe behind a painting in his bedroom. I photographed every page. She reached into her bra and pulled out a USB drive. The movement made her ribs scream, but she didn't let it show. She set the drive on the coffee table. The tiny click echoed in the silence. Account numbers, transfer dates, shell company names, all of it. Bastian finally turned. His eyes were unreadable, gray like frozen smoke. Why? Why did I take it, or why am I giving it to you? Both. Chiara stood. Her legs wanted to shake, but she locked her knees. I took it because Nero locked me in that estate for 3 months. He said I was his the moment our fathers shook hands. He said if I tried to leave, he'd kill my younger sister and make me watch. Her voice cracked. Just for a second, she hated herself for it. I'm giving it to you because you're the only man in Milan who Nero fears. And I'd rather be your hostage than his wife. Bastian took a slow sip of whiskey. His eyes never left hers. You think I'm your savior? No, I think you're a businessman. And I just gave you leverage over Nero's entire family. If his father finds out Nero stole from you, he'll kill his own son to keep the peace. Bastian's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Smart girl. He walked to the coffee table, picked up the USB drive like it was a loaded gun. And what do you want in return? Protection, a new identity, enough money to disappear, and I want you to make sure Nero never finds me. That's a tall order. Chiara stepped closer. You're the Capo di Tutti Capi. If you can't do it, no one can. Bastian looked at her, at the bruises on her ribs, the defiance in her eyes, the way she was trembling but refusing to sit down. When if I take this deal, you belong to me, not as a wife, as a debt. You do what I say when I say it, until I decide you've paid it off. No arguments. Fine. You don't even know what I'll ask you to do. Chiara met his gaze. I don't care. Anything is better than Nero. Bastian stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Then welcome to custody, Piccola. He turned to the window, pulled out his phone, dialed. Matteo, I need you to verify a Cayman account. Registration number Alpha 7 Tango 49. Yes, now. He hung up, looked at Chiara. You'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow we'll see if you're telling the truth. If you are, I'll protect you. If you're lying, he didn't finish. He didn't have to. I'm not lying. We'll see. He walked toward the bedroom, stopped at the door. Guest room is down the hall. Lock the door if it makes you feel safer. But know this, if you try to leave, my men will stop you. And if you betray me, I won't give you the mercy of a quick death. He disappeared into the bedroom. The door clicked shut. Chiara stood alone in the penthouse, looking down at the city below. She just traded one cage for another, but at least this one had a door. Nero's estate sat on the outskirts of Milan like a monument to old money and older sins. Marble columns, manicured gardens that probably cost more to maintain than most people earned in a year. Armed guards at every entrance, pretending to be gardeners. Inside, Nero paced his father's study like a caged animal. His father, Don Carmine, sat behind a massive oak desk that had belonged to Nero's grandfather. 60 years old, gray hair slicked back, cold eyes that had watched men die and never blinked. You let her escape. Don Carmine's voice was dangerously calm. She didn't escape. She went to Bastian. Worse, Nero's fists clenched. She's lying, Papa. Whatever she told him. Did you steal from the commission? Nero froze. Did you steal from the commission? Nero's face went pale. It wasn't stealing. It was reallocating. I was going to pay it back. Don Carmine slammed his fist on the desk. The sound was like a gunshot. You idiot. You stole from Bastian Salvatore, the one man in this city who could end our family with a phone call, and you used his dead brother's name to do it? I didn't think he'd... You didn't think. That's your problem. You never think. He stood, walked to the window overlooking the gardens. Bastian will come for you, and when he does, I won't protect you. You made this mess. You fix it. How? Kill the girl, recover the evidence, beg for mercy. I don't care. But if Bastian declares war on this family because of your stupidity, I'll give him your head myself. Nero's voice shook. She's mine. She's Bastian's now. You lost her the moment she kissed him. Don Carmine turned. His eyes were ice. You have 48 hours. And after that, you're on your own. He walked out. The door slammed shut. Nero stood alone in the study. His hands were shaking from rage. Chiara thought she was safe with Bastian. She was wrong. He'd burn the entire city to the ground before he let her go. 3 days passed. Chiara didn't leave the penthouse. Bastian came and went, always with Teo, his consigliere, always speaking in rapid Italian on the phone. She caught pieces of conversations, names she didn't recognize, threats that made her stomach turn. On the 4th day, Bastian came home early. He found her in the kitchen trying to figure out his espresso machine. You're going to break it. Chiara jumped. I was just... Here. He moved her aside gently, made her a perfect espresso in 30 seconds, handed it to her. Thanks. They stood there for a moment, and the silence wasn't uncomfortable anymore, just heavy with things neither of them was saying. The commission meets tomorrow night, Bastian said finally. I'm going to present the evidence. Nero's father will have to answer for it. Will he give up Nero? No. He'll try to negotiate, offer compensation, claim Nero acted without his knowledge. Bastian leaned against the counter. But it won't matter. I'm not interested in money. I want blood. Chiara sipped her espresso. What do you need from me? Nothing. You stay here. You stay safe. That's not what I asked. Bastian looked at her. Really looked. You want revenge too. I want to watch him burn. That's dangerous thinking, Piccola. I'm already in danger. Might as well make it worth it. Bastian studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Fine. Tomorrow night, you come with me to the meeting. You sit beside me. You don't speak unless I tell you to. And you let Nero see exactly what he lost. Chiara's heart raced. Why? Because nothing will hurt him more than seeing you choose me over him, in front of everyone who matters. The next evening, a woman arrived at the penthouse with 3 garment bags. She was tall, elegant, wearing all black. She looked Chiara up and down like she was evaluating a sculpture. Bastian said you needed something for the commission meeting. Yes? The woman smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. I'm Isabetta. I dress all of Bastian's important acquisitions. Chiara bristled at the word acquisitions, but didn't argue. Isabetta unpacked the garment bags. 3 dresses, all black, all devastating. This one. Isabetta held up a dress that was more architecture than clothing. Black silk, structured bodice, a neckline that would make priests weep. It says you're untouchable. That's what we want. Chiara tried it on. It fit like it had been made for her. Probably had been. Bastian thought of everything. When she came out of the bedroom, Bastian was waiting in the living room. He was wearing a black suit that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. He looked up when she walked in. Stopped. Just stopped and stared. You clean up well, Piccola. Chiara's cheeks heated. So do you. Luca appeared in the doorway. Car's ready. We need to leave in 10. Bastian nodded, looked at Chiara. Last chance to stay here. Once we walk into that meeting, there's no going back. Nero will see you. His father will see you. Now everyone will know you chose me. Good. Bastian's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Let's go start a war. The meeting was held in a private room at the back of a restaurant that didn't have a name on the door. Just an address that everyone who mattered knew. Chiara walked in beside Bastian, her hand resting lightly on his arm. Every eye in the room turned to look at her. Nero was already there, sitting beside his father. His face went white when he saw her. Bastian led Chiara to the head of the table, pulled out a chair for her. She sat. He sat beside her. Luca stood behind them like a shadow. There were 6 other men at the table, old men, powerful men, the heads of Milan's oldest families. They all looked at Chiara like she was a puzzle they needed to solve. Don Carmine spoke first. Bastian, you called this meeting. What's so urgent it couldn't wait? Bastian pulled out the USB drive, set it on the table. Your son has been stealing from the commission. $10 million, funneled into an offshore account under my dead brother's name. The room went silent. That's a serious accusation, Don Carmine said slowly. It's not an accusation. It's a fact. Bastian slid a folder across the table. Transfer logs, account statements, all of it. Nero thought I wouldn't check a dead man's ledger. He was wrong. One of the other men, Chiara recognized him from Bastian's briefing as Don Vittorio, picked up the folder, started reading. His face darkened. Nero stood up. This is a lie. He pointed at Chiara. She fabricated all of this. She's trying to turn you against me because I wouldn't let her leave. Sit down, Nero. Don Carmine's voice was flat. But Papa. Sit down. Nero sat. His hands were shaking. Don Vittorio passed the folder to the next man. They all read it, one by one. The silence in the room was suffocating. Finally, Don Carmine spoke. If this is true, if my son truly did this, what do you want, Bastian? I want him dead. Chiara felt the words like a physical thing. Cold, final, absolute. Don Carmine's jaw tightened. That's my son. And Luca was my brother. Nero used his name like it was nothing. Like he was nothing. That's not something I forgive. There has to be another way. Compensation. Double what he stole. I don't want your money. I want justice. The room erupted. Men arguing in rapid Italian, voices overlapping, Don Carmine trying to negotiate, Bastian refusing every offer. Nero sitting there, getting paler by the second. Then Bastian raised his hand. Everyone went silent. There is one alternative. Don Carmine leaned forward. Name it. Nero leaves Milan. Tonight. He doesn't come back. Ever. He gives up his claim to your territory, his position in the family, everything. He disappears. And in exchange, I don't declare war on your entire organization. Don Carmine's face was stone. You're asking me to exile my son. I'm giving you a choice. Exile or death. Pick one. Nero stood up again. I'm not leaving. This is my city, my family, my... He looked at Chiara. His eyes were wild, desperate. She's mine. You can't just take her. Bastian didn't stand, didn't raise his voice, just spoke, quiet and deadly. She was never yours, Nero. She made that clear when she kissed me in front of 1,000 people. When she gave me the evidence that's going to destroy you. When she chose to sit beside me at this table instead of running back to you. He paused. Let it sink in. You lost her the moment you put your hands on her. You just didn't know it yet. Nero lunged across the table. Didn't even get close. Luca moved like lightning, catching him by the throat, slamming him back into his chair. 2 other guards appeared from the shadows, guns drawn. Chiara didn't flinch, just sat there, watching Nero struggle, watching him realize he'd lost everything. Don Carmine stood. Enough! Nero, you leave tonight. I'll arrange transport. You don't contact anyone. You don't come back. This is the only mercy you're getting. Papa, you stole from Bastian Salvatore. You used a dead man's name. You brought shame to this family. You're lucky he's letting you live. Don Carmine's voice cracked, just for a second. Go, before I change my mind. Luca released Nero. Nero stood there, breathing hard, staring at Chiara. This isn't over, he said quietly. Bastian finally stood, walked around the table, got close enough to Nero that Chiara could see both their faces. Yes, it is. Touch her again. Come near her again. Even think about her again, and I won't give you the mercy of exile. I'll make your death last for days. Do you understand me? Nero didn't answer, just turned and walked out. Don Carmine looked at Bastian. We're done here. We're done when I say we're done. Bastian's voice was ice. You owe me $10 million. Payment in full. By the end of the month. And you're going to personally guarantee that Nero stays gone, because if he comes back, I'm holding you responsible. Don Carmine nodded slowly. Agreed. The meeting ended. The men filed out one by one. Chiara stayed in her chair, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it. Bastian sat back down beside her. You okay? I don't know. Ask me later. Fair enough. Luca appeared in the doorway. Car's ready. Bastian stood, offered Chiara his hand. She took it. They walked out of the restaurant together, into the Milan night, into whatever came next. 2 weeks passed. Nero didn't come back. The 10 million appeared in Bastian's account exactly on schedule. The commission meeting became the story everyone whispered about in Milan's underground. How Bastian Salvatore had publicly destroyed the Rossini family without firing a single shot. Chiara stayed in the penthouse, not because she had to anymore, because she didn't know where else to go. She'd started cooking. It gave her something to do with her hands when the silence got too heavy. Bastian would come home late, find her in the kitchen with pasta or risotto or something she'd learned from a YouTube video, and he'd sit at the island and eat like it was the first real meal he'd had in days. They didn't talk about what happened at the commission meeting. Didn't talk about Nero or about the fact that Chiara was technically still his hostage, still paying off a debt she'd never actually agreed to. They just existed, together, in the same space. It felt dangerous, like standing too close to a fire. On the 15th day, Bastian came home early. Chiara was sitting on the couch with a book she wasn't really reading. He walked in, saw her, and stopped. We need to talk. Chiara's stomach dropped. Okay. Bastian sat down across from her. Not beside her. Across. Like he needed distance. Nero's gone. The money's been returned. Your sister is safe. I had my people check. You've paid your debt. Oh. I can arrange a new identity for you. Papers, passport, bank account. Enough money to start over anywhere you want. You'll be free. Chiara stared at him. When? Whenever you want. Tomorrow. Or if you're ready. She should have felt relieved and grateful. She should have felt anything except the hollow ache spreading through her chest. What if I don't want to leave? Bastian's expression didn't change. Then you're an idiot. Probably. Chiara, I know what you are, Bastian. I know what you do. I'm not naive. She set down the book, looked at him directly. But I also know you've never lied to me. never pretended to be something you're not. And in the past 2 weeks, I've felt safer here than I did in my entire life before Nero. That's not a good reason to stay. It's my reason. That's all that matters. Bastian ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. You don't owe me anything anymore. You understand that? You're free to go. You should go. Why are you pushing me away? Because staying here is dangerous. Why? Because people know you're under my protection now, which makes you a target. Because Nero might be gone, but his family isn't, and they won't forget. Because he stopped, looked away. Because what? Because I'm not a good man, Chiara, and you deserve better than this. Chiara stood up, walked over to him, sat down on the coffee table directly in front of him, so he had to look at her. I'm a DJ who stole evidence from a mafia enforcer and kissed a crime boss in front of 1,000 people to save my own life. I'm not looking for a good man, Bastian. I'm looking for an honest one. Bastian stared at her. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but it'll be my regret, not yours. He reached out, slowly, like he was expecting her to flinch, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His hand lingered on her jaw. If you stay as mine. And not as a hostage, not as a debt, as mine. Do you understand what that means? Chiara's heart was pounding. Tell me. It means I protect you. It means anyone who touches you answers to me. It means you're part of this world now, whether you want to be or not. And what do you get out of it? Bastian's thumb brushed her cheek. You, if you'll have me. Chiara leaned into his touch. I thought you'd never ask. He kissed her, not desperate like at the club, not calculated, just real. His hand slid into her hair, pulling her closer. She wrapped her arms around his neck, and for the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe. When they pulled apart, Bastian rested his forehead against hers. You're insane. You already said that. I'm saying it again. Chiara smiled. A good thing you like insane. It happened 3 days later. Chiara was in the penthouse kitchen, making dinner. Bastian was in his office on a call. Teo was supposed to be on guard duty but had stepped out to deal with something at the restaurant downstairs. Nero had been watching the building for 3 days, waiting for exactly this moment. He'd paid off one of the maintenance staff, 20,000 euros to leave the service entrance unlocked and the security cameras on a 15-minute loop. It was just enough time. The door opened. Chiara looked up, expecting Teo. Saw Nero instead. Her blood went cold. He looked terrible, thinner, hollow-eyed, desperate, and he was holding a gun. Hello, Chiara. She backed up slowly. You're supposed to be gone. I was. I left. I did everything they told me to do. He stepped into the kitchen, and the door clicked shut behind him. But I couldn't stop thinking about you, about what you did to me, about how you destroyed everything. Nero, put the gun down. No, you don't get to tell me what to do anymore. You don't get to run to Bastian and hide behind him. You're coming with me. Right now. I'm not going anywhere with you. Nero laughed. It sounded broken. You don't have a choice. You're mine, Chiara. You've always been mine. And if I can't have you, he raised the gun, pointed it at her chest. Then no one can. The office door burst open. Bastian appeared, his own gun already drawn. Step away from her. Nero spun around. Stay back. I'll shoot her. I swear to God. No, you won't. Bastian's voice was calm, deadly calm. Because if you do, you'll be dead before she hits the ground. Oh, and you know it. You took everything from me. Nero's voice cracked. My family, my position, my future. You took that yourself when you stole from me, when you used my brother's name, when you put your hands on her. She was mine first. She was never yours. She was a prisoner. There's a difference. Nero's hand was shaking. The gun wavered. I loved her. No, you didn't. You loved owning her. That's not the same thing. Chiara's voice cut through the tension. Nero, look at me. He did. His eyes were wet. You never loved me. You loved the idea of me. The DJ girlfriend you could show off. The wife you could lock away. But you never once asked me what I wanted. You never once saw me as a person. That's not true. It is. And you know it. She took a step forward. Bastian tensed but didn't stop her. Bastian's not a good man. He's dangerous and cold, and he's done things that would horrify most people. But he's never lied to me. He's never pretended I'm something I'm not. And he's never ever raised his hand to me. I can change. It's too late for that. Nero's face crumpled. The gun lowered. Just a fraction. That's when Bastian moved. He crossed the room in 2 steps, grabbed Nero's wrist, twisted. The gun clattered to the floor. Nero swung at him wildly. Bastian caught his fist and slammed him against the wall. You broke the terms of your exile. You came back to my city. You threatened what's mine. Bastian's voice was barely above a whisper. I gave you mercy once. I won't make that mistake again. Then kill me. Nero's voice was hollow. Just do it. I don't care anymore. Bastian looked at Chiara. Your call, Piccola. He came here for you. You decide what happens to him. Chiara stared at Nero, the man who'd locked her up, who'd bruised her ribs, who'd threatened her sister, who'd tried to take everything from her. She should have wanted him dead, should have wanted revenge. But looking at him now, broken and desperate and pathetic, she just felt tired. Let him go. Bastian's eyebrows rose. What? Let him go. He's not worth it. He's already destroyed. Killing him won't change anything. Chiara, please, Bastian, just let him go. Bastian stared at her for a long moment. Then he released Nero. Step back. You heard her. Get out. If I ever see you in Milan again, I won't give you a third chance. Nero stumbled toward the door, stopped, looked back at Chiara one last time. I really did love you, in my own way. I know, that's the saddest part. He left. When the door clicked shut, Chiara's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the kitchen floor. Bastian was beside her in seconds, pulling her into his arms. You okay? No. Yes, I don't know. She buried her face in his chest. I thought I'd want him dead. I thought seeing him again would make me angry. But I just felt nothing. That's okay. That means you're free. Am I? Yes. Bastian pulled back, cupped her face in his hands. You're free, Chiara. From him. From fear. From everything. Except you, he smiled. Except me. 6 months later, Chiara stood behind the DJ booth at the Inferno. Same club, same equipment, different life. The bass was so thick you could feel it in your teeth. The crowd was dancing, lost in the music. And in the darkest corner booth, Bastian sat with a glass of whiskey watching her. Not possessively, not controlling, just watching. Like he couldn't quite believe she was real. Chiara mixed the next track. The crowd erupted. She grinned, caught Bastian's eye across the room. He raised his glass. A silent toast. She'd come here 6 months ago running from a monster. She'd kissed a king to save her life. She'd traded one cage for another. But somewhere between the lies and the late nights, between the threats and the silence, she'd found something she never expected. Freedom. Real freedom. Not the kind that came from running away, but the kind that came from choosing to stay. She finished her set an hour later, walked through the crowd toward Bastian's booth. He stood when she approached, pulled her into his arms like he always did. Good set, Piccola. You say that every time? I mean it every time. She kissed him. You're right there in the middle of the club, in front of everyone. Take me home. Always. They walked out of the Inferno together, into the Milan night, into the life they'd built from lies and desperation, and something that looked a lot like love. Chiara had kissed the most dangerous man in Milan to save her life, and somehow, impossibly, she'd ended up saving his too. Chiara kissed the most dangerous man in Milan to save her life, and somehow, impossibly, she ended up saving his too. If you love this story, smash that like button and subscribe to Honeybee Mafia Tales for more forbidden romance, dark family secrets, and mafia kings who break all the rules. Drop a comment and tell me your favorite part of this story. And if you can't get enough of mafia romance, check out the next story in the playlist. It's even more dangerous than this one. Until next time, stay safe. or don't. This is Honeybee, and I'll see you in the next tale.